I've done some ranking videos in the past, but it proved impossible to please all the viewers. So I've decided to do the exact opposite, and I expect this to be the most disliked video on the channel. Anyway, here are the Premier League 2022-23 stadiums ranked. London Stadium. I am a sheep, so I have to put this one last despite it being a decent stadium, because it's not quite rectangular, and it's plastic, and it doesn't have a soul or something. Also, K-pop is amazing and crypto is the future, bro. Dean Court. Firstly, in football it's called a field or maybe a pitch or a ground, not a court. But it actually does have about the same capacity as a medium-sized tennis stadium or basketball arena. So I can see how you may have been confused. Don't beat yourself up. King Power Stadium. Okay, don't get me wrong, it's a perfectly serviceable stadium. It's not like it's falling apart or anything, but it's boring, isn't it? It's boring. When you're not even the best stadium in Leicester, that's saying something. Sorry Leicester, you're alright. St. Mary's Stadium. Why is it above the King Power when it's the same stadium? Well, I slightly prefer red, and it's right by a port. So if you live in a freight container, you have a convenient transport option available. Also, the lack of a corporate sponsor makes it that little bit more respectable. Selhurst Park. It might use Bronze Age technology, but it at least has character, unlike the last 3 or 4. Yes, there are some obstructed views, and all spectators have to be up to date on their tetanus shots, but I like to call that old-fashioned charm. Elland Road. You see, the problem here is Elland rhymes with Balland. That's a big no-no. I think Leeds United fans will understand that I can't possibly have it any higher on the list because of this. Oh, and in case there are any Americans watching, Balland means, think Jake Paul. Goodison Park. It's hard to say anything bad about a stadium on its deathbed, but I wouldn't anyway. I quite like it. The old-fashioned design isn't perfect, but it's quite easy on the eye. Unfortunately, the language barrier is a bit of a drawback, but these days you can get an app on your phone that translates Scouse to English. Molineux Stadium. Like Wolverhampton themselves, this is mid-table. It is unique, no other stadium looks quite like it, but there are some drawbacks, like the spectators along the sidelines being quite far from the field. It's alright though. City Ground. I have a soft spot for Nottingham Forest. They have a rich history, they're named after a movie character that I can identify with, and of course the stadium is rather nice. Great location as well, right by the river. Emirates Stadium. This is a venue that doesn't really excite me, but there's also not a lot wrong with it. The continuous multi-tiered bowl offers good sightlines, and the big cannon there on the seats reminds the corporate fans which team they have to pretend to support. Stamford Bridge. It suffers from a similar naming problem as Dean Court, but something I found fascinating is that this is where the English finally got rid of the Vikings. I'm serious, look it up. It's pretty cool on the inside. I love that west stand. Etihad Stadium. The champs have themselves a stadium that certainly makes an impression from the outside, but once you get inside, it's a sea of sky blue. And I know in Manchester you don't really see a blue sky, so it's a special treat for the fans. This is a nice stadium. St. James's Park. If all sides of the stadium were like the eastern and southern sides, I would have had it ranked like 15 or something, but they're not. They're twice the size and are covered by the biggest roof of its kind, and it's of the transparent variety, so it lets in lots of light. Brentford Community Stadium. the newest stadium in the league might also be the most unusual. A lot of people dislike that funky metallic exterior, but I think it's a work of art. It reminds me of an early Homer Simpson piece. The interior is just as good. Old Trafford. Some people like to point out that the stadium is not even in Manchester, it's in Trafford. Those people are called smartasses. But just like Oasis and Little Carly Pilcoids, Old Trafford is a Manchester icon. It's the biggest in the league, and if it were in better condition, it might have been in the top 3. But it's not, so it's not. Craven Cottage. Great location by the river once more. It has a good name as well. There is actually a cottage and bonus points for alliteration. Recent upgrades have added a modern touch, while the gable and the brick facade of the Johnny Haynes stand reminds you that it is indeed a very old stadium. The Amex. Brighton is a coastal city, and I feel like the smooth, curving form of this stadium suits it perfectly. Even better, on the inside we have a deeper shade of ocean blue with some depictions of seagulls. It's just like you're at the beach. All you need is some fish and chips, and the smell of rotting whale carcass, Norway's version of fish and chips. Villa Park. Classy, elegant, sophisticated, charming. All words that are not usually associated with Birmingham, but Villa Park is the exception. It's the James Bond of stadiums. Why did I put it so high? Well, perhaps I'm just nostalgic for these older style stadiums. My voice is deceiving, I'm actually 73. Anfield. This marvellous stadium is one of the few things that all generations can agree on. The updated main stand is quite modern, but it still uses brick, which doesn't confuse the boomers. And best of all, unlike Everton, Liverpool hires translators for visitors from English-speaking regions, which is greatly appreciated. I can already hear the angry Liverpudlians typing away in the comments. I just won't bother translating those ones, to be honest. Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Although I have still put it at number 1, my love for the stadium is fading slightly. A giant golden cock can only get you so far. But I just can't look past the amenities that this stadium has to offer, whilst also having a lot more character than other modern bowl-style stadiums. If Villa Park is the James Bond of stadiums, then this is certainly Batman. And that's it for today's video. If you're new and you enjoyed it, why not subscribe? Thanks for watching, have a good one.